presented by Snickers.
We are ready to go, and so is the Bills Mafia. The fans in Orchard Park are ready for what they hope will be the beginning of their first Super Bowl run in a generation, and we are ready to bring it all to you. Delighted that you've gotten up with us here. Randy Moss is up and watching this morning.
Wrong side, buddy.
Houston's favorite son, Rex Ryan, Alex Smith, Teddy Bruschi, and look who's with us this morning.
Yeah,
Fred being named first team All-Pro for the third consecutive year. Fred Warner of the 49ers.
Stop
it. You're too kind.
We are too
We have got very handsome linebackers on this side of the table. Can I just say that?
See that bling on his face? I need one of those right there.
Talk about insight, by the way. Fred played against 7 of the 12 remaining teams in this postseason. So no one anywhere is getting you ready for some football today the way we are. And we will look ahead, but let's start by looking back. Last night, Baltimore, Ravens, Steelers, divisional matchup.
To a field goal. I mean, you got some hope.
We're late in the first half now. Fred, how are we stopping that?
Steelers just look like they didn't want it.
Hammer time.
So it's 14-0, and now we're in the final 30 seconds of the half, and the Ravens are driving again. Oh,
there
everybody's getting a stiff arm.
Everybody throws a right hand in Baltimore.
And that sets up, watch the clock tick. Literally, as the time winds down to 2 seconds, Ravens up 21-0, and in total command, Fred.
I hate going against them, so
21-0.
I hate watching them sometimes.
Not giving up. Of course, my common teams never give up. They keep fighting.
Well, but Fred, where's the defense on this run from Henry?
This guy, he's already hot, and then where's the defense?
Right down the middle.
Now, right down the middle. Nobody in sight.
Somebody made a business decision.
They're all talking over there.
3 minutes left in the quarter. Same score. George Pickens, Alex finally gets cooking.
This guy's a phenomenal player. Another great throw by Russ. They tried to put up a fight here and keep this close.
28-14, but that's as close as they got. We're 8 minutes to go in the fourth. It's Wilson again. It's Pickens again. This one is for 26. And a nice gain here, but
chance to get a PI or make the catch.
Ardarius Washington got to catch that too now.
All she wrote, Ravens.
Come on, Ardarius. That could be
28-14. Look at the numbers next to the name of Derrick Henry. A huge performance in his Baltimore playoff debut, and his quarterback loved it.
We just weren't good enough, to be quite honest with you.
Losing just in general sucks. Doesn't matter what. Like, you could have the worst week of practice and go out and win, and winning cures everything. When you're losing, you're trying to find the answers. You've been trying to find the answers for too long. To end the season with 5 losses is not acceptable at any level of football.
Okay, so history is written by the winners, and we will get to the Ravens, but we have to start with the Steelers. You heard TJ say it. They lost their last 5 games. They never led in any of them, and they never scored more than 17 points in any of them. Alex, what happened specifically last night?
Yeah, serious questions philosophically for the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. Listen, they brought in Arthur Smith this offseason, an offense coordinator renowned for running game, right? And the philosophy was going to be, we're going to run the football and stop the run, right? We plug in Russell Wilson, who's great at play action pass and can do some things situationally, and that's going to be our formula to win. You gave up 300 yards rushing, and you ran the ball for 29 yards, right, in the playoffs. I think there's a total reevaluation of where we're at as a team going forward here, right? I know we're going to get into later who's playing quarterback for this team, but, who's playing D-line for this team? Who's playing O-line for this team? Serious question marks.
I agree with the total reevaluation because I'm going to say this. All right. They played them straight up. This is a true test of how much better the Ravens are than the Steelers. And why do I say it's a true test and they played them straight up? There were no turnovers, all right? No interceptions, no fumbles forced or anything. It's like our guys versus your guys on a down-to-down basis, and you got your butts kicked. That's what it was. No special plays, no kooky special team turnovers or anything like that. Straight up. You got beat. You got hit in the mouth. End of story for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, look, I was only in 10 years of this, in Baltimore versus Pittsburgh games. 100% of the time, the most physical team wins this one, and it wasn't even close.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
No, it wasn't even close. All right, and so, all right, most physical player on the field without question. Pittsburgh, though, schematically has to change. They've got to change. You can't let them run zone read all over the place. And Fred, you and I were talking about it last night. They're forcing from a deep safety has got to take the the force on these zone reads.
I don't know.
That ain't going to happen.
I don't know what the game plan was to try to stop the zone read with Lamar Jackson, but it just wasn't right. You know, they weren't on point, and you have to be in those moments. It's the playoffs. And, I mean, the Ravens have been a team that's been at the top of the AFC for a long time. They're even better now with Derrick Henry. I mean, that changes the entire game, having a guy like that, where you can just give him 20, 30, 40 carries if you want to and tell him go win the game for you.
So where are the playmakers? I am frustrated if I'm a Steeler fan and I'm listening to what you're saying, specifically what you're saying, Teddy. We played them straight up. Well, why?
Why? That's
clearly the Ravens were the better team. Where was the wrinkle? Where was the
was the playmaking? You've got great players on defense, too. T.J. Watt, who still has not won a playoff game in his entire career, was going against a rookie from Washington, Roger Rosengarten, and he absolutely, I mean, he beat him once, but Rosengarten, I mean, Lamar's dropping back 10 to 13 yards sometimes, and he's locking him up. Where was T.J. Watt? Where are these players that are such great defensive players that you depended on all year? That's what it is. When you play them straight up, where's your defense? Where's your special teams? They weren't there.
It was a conservative game plan on both sides of the ball. Right? Like, offensively, you thought you were going to go into Baltimore and play them by the book straight up and run, pass in the first half, right? And then defensively, I don't know how you weren't sending the house at some point trying to stop this time, just sitting there and taking it. You know, finally in the second half, they opened it up in the passing game, but it's like way too late.
I'll give you an example that we all noticed, too. Our Darius Washington, the Steelers, the Ravens safety, made a great tackle on Freiermuth. Great tackle. Chopped him down. It was like 3rd and 8 or whatever it was. And he came up this short. This short. Great chop down tackle. Take his shot, like Fred was saying. Stopped him. They punted. They punted. That's not desperation. That's not knowing these guys are better than us. How do you not know these guys are better than you with those guys on offense? So, and not taking the chance of maybe taking a risk there. They didn't even do that.
Look, I mean, everyone of us and everyone in the National Football League has great respect for Mike Tomlin, but the numbers are the numbers. Can we show you what his postseason performance has looked like? He has now lost his last 6 playoff games, and look at the number of points his teams have allowed. Candidly, almost none of these have even been competitive. He is the only Super Bowl winning coach in NFL history to lose 6 consecutive playoff games at any time. And that brings us to Dylan Schefter's father, Adam. Shefty, let's talk a little bit about Mike Tomlin. You brought this up last week, and if there's anything we know, the Steeler fans are frustrated, and understandably so. What do we say about Mike Tomlin's tenure there right this minute?
Well, Greeny, last week we said there would be teams that would check into the availability of Mike Tomlin, and one did. And one was told that Mike Tomlin has a no-trade clause in his contract. So anything that would happen in Pittsburgh involving Mike Tomlin would come with his consent and his consent only. A loss like last night's might further teams to look into it. Pittsburgh hasn't given any indication that it wants to move on from Mike Tomlin, and this has been the most patient franchise, not just in football, but maybe sports. When Bill Cowher was struggling at the end and fans in Pittsburgh wanted him gone, the Rooney stuck with him, and he wound up winning another Super Bowl. There's no indication they want to move off Mike Tomlin now. But this is an organization right now that is going to have to address some issues in the offseason. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Najee Harris, all free agents, and questions about how this team proceeds, Greeny.
How much of this is on Tomlin, Rex? As you look at the situation right now, how much of it is on the coach?
Well, I mean, look. 100% of it is. You know why? Because they're in the damn playoffs again. Give me a break. This man right here is going nowhere and shouldn't go anywhere. He's one of the best in the league. Nobody thought this team was going to win 4 games, and he gets them in the playoffs. I get it. They lost 5 in a row, and that's absolutely atrocious. Their defense, they got to look at it this way. This ain't the same defenses. They may have to make some changes, but it damn sure ain't going to be Mike Tomlin, and it shouldn't be.
Let me use some of Tomlin's own words that he uses at those great press conferences that he has. The standard is the standard, all right? And the standard in Pittsburgh is more than just making the playoffs, is all I'm saying, Rex. And all right.
Not with a JV roster.
Right, okay, you need a quarterback.